All right. Let's do this. I can close this and this. And where am I? Let's see if I popped up. Did I pop up? Not yet. Hello. It's 9. All right. And here it is. I'm live. It's the Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore, continuing the series for Elul on Orot HaTshuvah. So just a few things in the chat here. Jacob the Jew. Hi, Jacob. He says, I'll be here. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Indeed. Am Yisrael Chai, says BMXers. Rusty says hello. Jesse says shalom. Sneezer says shalom, everyone. I will probably need to catch the replay, setting up neighbors' Wi-Fi. Good, doing a good deed for your neighbors. So good for you. All right. We're going to launch right in. So it says 3 people are here. This chat was, the chats I just read were from a few minutes ago to a few hours ago, but I'm not sure who's here now. Anyway, hi, 2 people here now. Hello, hello, hello. And we will continue with Orot HaTshuvah. We will continue with the Rav Kook's Lights of Repentance, Lights of Returning. Once again, it's Google Translate with a slight editing on the fly. Doesn't do it justice, but we're going to read it. So I'm going to read chapter 14, paragraph 4. And afterwards, the Q&A on whatever it is that you want, whether it's the text, from Orot HaTshuvah, or whether it's something else entirely. And hopefully this time I'm not going to go comment by comment by comment. I'm going to find a question, answer it, and then skip down to the end, or something like that. Okay. So, chapter 14, paragraph 4, Rav Kook says, just a reminder, right? He himself would study this book during this month of Elul, his own book. I love that. Okay, and he said, Orot HaTshuvah needs to be studied without limit. Okay, so says Rav Kook, the fact that we are sometimes embedded, right, or the idea, right, the thing, that we are sometimes embedded within great obstacles in matters between a person and God, in matters between a person and his friend or his fellow, or, a person to person, nothing will delay the spiritual tshuva at all. Meaning, you have obstacles in your life, but there's a certain element, a certain life force that is not as impacted, that runs straight in through all creation, unstoppable, right? An unstoppable force. So even though we are embedded within great obstacles, as Rav Kook says, whether it's a person and God, a person and a different person, nothing will delay the spiritual tshuva, the spiritual returning, the spiritual repenting. And he continues, and since one wants to return to God, they return, period. That facet of tshuva, that spiritual tshuva, you proclaim you want to do it, you're there. Then it's actually needing to go through with it. Much like in a psychedelic experience, or at least one that's substance-induced, or not even any proper psychedelic experience, I suppose. You have the experience, and then you have integration. In the very same way, you have this tshuva that is always there, giving life its zest. As for implementing it in life, that's already a different matter. But the spiritual tshuva, the one that occurs, let's say, on the level of the mind. Okay, let's continue. So, since they want to return to God, they return. And one is renewed, says Rav Kook, as a new creature. And as for the practical deeds, which require great haste in their correction, these he will always be expecting to correct and amend, and will adapt to himself great humiliation, from humility, so long as he has not corrected a specific thing in practice, and he should long for the complete repair. Meaning you as an individual, the way that you are in the world, the image of God that you are meant to be, it's always wanting, it's always lacking, it's always missing. And it's on us to bring it about, to let it shine through, with our practical implementation of this spiritual tshuva to a practical tachlis, mamesh, in the world tshuva, in the nasty, stanky funk of life. Now, you should always be expecting to correct the practical element of your behavior, your speech. And until you manage to do that, until you manage to get something under your control, as it were, but it's really just submission and letting go in a way, yin and yang, two sides of the same thing. The idea is to do it with humility. Because like we said in the previous live streams on Orot HaTshuvah, even only the contemplation and thought process of tshuva is already tshuva. It's already there. And so there's this danger or risk of a person suddenly making himself greater. Oh, I'm on a noble path. I want to fix myself. No, be humble. Rav Kook says, you always be expecting to correct that which you haven't corrected yet, and be humble about it. And long for the complete repair, he says. Now, repair or correcting or fixing, in Hebrew it also means a kind of adornment, a tikkun. The phrase tikkun olam is something that's fixing the world repair. Okay, he continues, Rav Kook continues and says, either way, God will help him fix everything in practice. External motivations, internal motivations, or because his will is not yet so firm. He says, sometimes things from the outside, sometimes things from the inside, sometimes the will, right, is simply not strong enough. Or he continues and says, the consent of the ways of correction have not yet come to him in completion. In other words, he honestly doesn't know where to go next. He's only like one step, he knows where to go maybe immediately next, but he doesn't quite see the full picture. And the practical nature of implementing the spiritual tshuva has not yet been revealed to the individual in fullness. So, right, external motivations, internal motivations, your will is not yet firm. The ways in which you can actually do it have not yet been revealed to you in completion. Either way, says Rav Kook, despite all of that, either way, he should hold on to the spiritual repentance with all courage and might, and to be firm in his mind that at the end of the day, he is still holding on to repentance, which is a matter more precious than anything in the world. So he says, despite all of that, be courageous. Be courageous in your mind. Be courageous in your attempts. Be courageous in your endeavor to connect yourself, to cleave onto the ways of tshuva, in how it is that you personally are going to reveal your image of God in the world. Right? Or for the Hebrew man, right? Torah, commandments, the covenant. So he says, at the end of the day, you're still holding on to this great thing that is more precious than anything in the world. Right? You spoke of tshuva, of returning, as being the origin, the destination, and the journey. And when you hold on to that, and even if it has not yet come to fruition, to completion, because what's complete in this world? Practically, even if you're not even sure of how to go about it, if you keep it in your mind and you're courageous, doors will open up, and things that have not yet been revealed will be revealed if you can make the effort where things are revealed to you still, or revealed to you at this time. Certain things might be barred for different reasons. As he says, right, your will is not firm, it hasn't been revealed to you, and motivations that conflict. All right, and he continues and he says, and he should be abound in Torah, in virtues, in wisdom, and with honest leadership in everything that is possible for him. So meaning, comport yourself in a way where if you can do the right thing, do the right thing. If you can get some Torah in, get some Torah in. If you can be wise, right, and to discern, learn from your experiences, learn from your mistakes, carry it into the future as a way of correction. Honest leadership, right, leading an honest life as the leader of your little kingdom. So he says, and he should pour out his conversation in prayer, right? Again, that intimate, one-on-one prayer, and also in a congregation, if that's your thing. So he says that a person should always be carrying out prayer, and hitbodedut is what I would say, to always be speaking to the Most High, to always be talking, to always be sharing, and you're talking to yourself, but you are revealing things to yourself as you are talking. So, to pour out his conversation in prayer. Prayer, he says, and pray to carry out the parts of tshuva, of repentance, of returning, that have not yet come to fruition for himself and for all of Israel and for the whole world and for the general order of the Shekhinah, the divine light in the world. So now he goes way past the individual, right? So it's the individual, and it's all of Israel, and it's the whole world, and it's all of creation, and how divine light comes into being more so, right? Through one's actions. And he says that he should pray that these things, that his HaTshuvah should not be just for himself, but should be for all of these things together. That they may all be in the purpose of perfection, meaning that they will be serving all together that higher, more noble purpose. And he should long for all the souls to be reformed and enjoy the light of the Shekhinah being the divine feminine presence. I think at least, guys and girls alike know how sometimes a feminine touch can make something that much nicer. So that he prays, right, for himself, for Israel, for the world, that this may be revealed, and to have an actual longing, something you carry with you, for all souls to be reformed. Now, this does not mean that you go around puffing out your chest and saying, I need to reform you. Hell no, not even close. Be humble. Always keep humility close by, if you can do it. So he says that all souls should be reformed, right, and adorned and fixed and repaired and enjoy the light of the Shekhinah, that light that shines from the divine feminine presence, like God's dwelling. And everything will be blessed with good and life, right, or vitality. That was Orot HaTshuvah 14d. I'm going to go to the chat now, see if there's anything there. Before that, I'll say, hi there, 12 people here, 2 likes. What fun it is. What is it? It's Sunday? Yes, it's Sunday. And I'm here in Jerusalem, and I give thanks for all you good people, for, every sub and every like and every view and every comment and every chat and everything. It's lovely to be here. Let's crack on. So who's here right now? We have Egune, Kojan, Robert Harrison is here, the OG, Jesse Links, Yotidiao, of course. Hello. So Neezer, and Rusty, they were here earlier. I don't know if they're here now. The Anti-Anime Association leader. I don't know much about anime, but I do know what I like. I liked Avatar, The Last Airbender, and a few films. Okay, let's continue. Kiss your face, okay? There, Jordan, or Joradan Rayner. Done. Okay. Jacob, shalom, can I ask you a question? Yes, you can, Jacob. Hi there, and hello. Thanks for popping in earlier, and you're good at, you did what you did, and you're a man of your word. Jacob the Jew. Your hard-earned tax dollars fund my unemployment lifestyle. You've been here before. Nice to see you again. Hard-earned tax dollars. Bro, Palestine and Israel just need to kiss and make up. God willing, we will all be de-radicalized, find common ground, eradicate terror, and we'll be able to come to an agreement. But before that happens, Israel needs to wipe out Hamas. Hey, you know what? If the international community that cares so much about the Palestinians wants to do it, by all means, they should rally their forces, send them to Gaza, take out Hamas, free Palestine de facto, and we'll be able to start something brand new that, God willing, will last, until the coming of the world of the coming world. Noob's Revenge, you've been here before as well. Or is it Nubs? It's Nubs, right? There's no... those 1930s Germans had it right when they were giving away free showers. It's true. It started as a disgust thing, right? As a cleanliness thing, a hygiene thing. When you associate the Jew and the, and the infirmed and others, right? And you say they're unclean. That's not saying we're better. It's saying that they are unclean, and that's how these things started, or at least to some degree in the beginning, before the showers turned to gas. And throughout the 30s, when the Nazi Party was passing different laws, it wasn't a light switch. It was like a dimmer switch, and they got it into that German psyche. They got it into the German psyche that the Jews and the others, right, are unclean. We need to rinse ourselves. We need to cleanse ourselves from that. Okay. Brother, name a classic car for edit. Well, I don't know anything about cars. I'm still in the process of getting my license, God willing soon, but it's never been my thing. Could not care less if it gets me from A to B, and I don't even need to drive it. I'll take it. If Hamas wins, Israel has to accept them as a government. I think that if Hamas wins, Israel will be no more. Kurdum says, free Palestine. I agree. Thank you for supporting Israel, Kurdum. Free Palestine from Hamas. Free Palestine from terror. Well done. If that's the case, we can't all say... Wait, I'm sorry? Whenever someone says Palestine, you can't say it's Hamas. No, I said it free Palestine from Hamas. I consider them to... When I say Palestine... It doesn't matter if I think that country didn't exist until the 60s as an identity and a flag and all of that. Historically, it didn't exist. Neither did any country, and then they came into existence. So let's grant that. This is how it came into existence. Okay, but that still doesn't mean terrorizing your neighbors. And so I differentiate Palestine and Hamas. And when I say Palestine, it doesn't matter if and I could say Gazans, and I could say people of the West Bank. It means those who were here, or their descendants, those who were here, right? When the state of Israel happened, when their Nakba happened, the great calamity. Can I buy an autographed photo of your upcoming bowel movement, please? You know, my bowel movements are kind of private, so I'm thinking no, but thanks. An autographed photo. However, if I totally crap one out that's really worthy, I will consider you. Please send me a DM, Hebrew Nazarite, across the board in the different social medias. Me and my tree will be there. I don't post much, but I'm in the DMs. Okay. I hate the third world, Old Testament war BS. Ancestors left that behind long time ago. Yes, there is, I think, a lot of merit to forsaking the ancient path if one considers that it only leads to war and destruction and all of that, right? That BS. I've considered it gravely and greatly, I did not forsake my religion. I took a step back from it to some degree, but I don't forsake it because I found personally to be more good than evil, and that it would be a good way for me to orient myself in the world. And it doesn't mean 100% because there are no absolutes, but yeah. If you're Palestinian, you'd be doing exactly the same. Yes, likely, because I'd be brainwashed by people who want Israelis dead and Jews dead. Obviously, if I was Palestinian, I would be fighting for freedom. I wouldn't think this is terror. It's Israel that's the terrorist, obviously. Obviously. Yes. Of course I'd be doing exactly the same thing. What I'm saying is that there are people who are peace-loving, not warmongers, and those people are a partner that we can talk to. And the others who are militant, we cannot. We need to de-radicalize the Palestinians, and we need to de-radicalize the Israelis. We both have parts of us and elements within us that are not helping the situation, even if their desire is towards the good. Their way of going about it might be screwing up a lot of things. Now, far be it from me to say I know what to do, because I don't. I do know what the Torah says very simply, very plainly, and I don't see, let's say, at least enough of certain elements of Torah in the world, in Israel. And that's a problem. Bro, I just want a beautiful Israeli soldier woman to carry me like a baby. Hey, I know what you mean. I really, really do. That's quite a thing to want. Maybe, maybe you show up here. Maybe you'll make that happen for yourself. Hey, and then HN Ella, hi, may the force be with you. Yes, I like this shirt too. My woman got it for me. Huh, you got Abdul viewers. Abdul viewers? What? Okay, let's go back to where I skipped. You know Rav Kook's student, the Nazir of Jerusalem. Yes, Harav David Kohen Nazir. I have his book Kol HaNevuah right here, and he was quite an individual, to say the least. And there are still just last week there was a seminar in his home. I'm looking into his teachings. I wasn't there, but I'm on the Facebook group there. Kadosh lanetzach, holy forever. Sneezer doing a good deed, aye, Robert Harrison. Yes, indeed, Robert. Sneezer is doing a good thing. Ugh, got to drink this nasty stuff today and do a liquid diet. Got to get a colonoscopy. Oh, Robert, I hope you get good news. I hope it's just a preemptive, cautionary sort of visit. A healthy visit, I hope. Russian, please. Niet. Sorry. No Russian, Egune. Say with your mouth closed, okay? Can't do it. It comes out like an M. Is the king in your field? I think that, thank God, hitbodedut means, right, that spontaneous prayer means that it's always the field and the king is always there. Show reveal. Show reveal? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Is smoking pot kosher, man? Pot is kosher, it's just a plant. You can treat it wisely, sanctify it, you might set it apart in a logical way, and you can also smoke all day, every day, lose your job, whatever, and make it into a horrible thing. It's the things that we set apart that make them different for us. And if you set apart weed and you say this is, well, whatever it is, a pick-me-up at the end of the day, a sacrament, a blessed thing, a mitzvah, whatever you want to think of it, it can be kosher. However, if you're thinking, I want to smoke pot in order to escape reality and not take responsibility, and those are kind of those are not. What I mean to say is they come sort of together here. If you're smoking pot to run away from your responsibilities, that's not so kosher. I mean, once in a while, I suppose, but obviously if you do it as a regular thing, that's not a kosher way of behaving with pot, right? If it causes you paranoia and you treat people wrong because of it, it affects you in a way that's unhealthy, that's not kosher. If it causes psychological addiction, and you find yourself lying, and you find yourself in places you don't want to be, with people you don't want to be, and in situations you don't want to be in, that's not a kosher way of behaving with pot. But the actual plant is exceedingly kosher, and it's thought to be one of the 13 herbs that was in the making of the incense in the tabernacle and the temple, the Ktoret. They also found a couple of altars throughout Israel, if not more, that had remnants of cannabis, which means that they were using it ritually as well, in that way on the altar as such, or at least maybe with other things. I'm not precisely sure. Either way, it's exceedingly kosher. It's only you and your deeds that could make it unkosher. In the same way that kosher food can be eaten in a gluttonous manner, kosher food can be eaten in a very an egotistical sort of way. In the same way, pot is the exact same thing. But yes, definitely kosher, in my opinion. And I'm not a scholar, I'm not a learned man, not an educated man, I'm just a simple dumbass in the Middle East. Okay, let's continue. Yes, but it's an allegory, right? It's a kind of metaphor. והיה מספר בני ישראל ככל הים אשר לא ימעט ולא יספר, והיה במקום אשר יאמר להם לא עמי אתם יאמר להם בני אל חי. Correct. Is that Hosea? Right? Lo ami and lo ruchama? Or I might be confusing it. I'm in the back room, help me, says William Bissiker. Sorry, William, man, what can I do? Let me know. Let's Be Honest says, are you going to watch the new Beetlejuice movie? I don't think so. I love the 90s Beetlejuice so much, and Tim Burton's older things so much. And I love Michael Keaton and Gina Davis and Baldwin, what's his face? Alec Baldwin there. I mean, it's just everybody there. It's such a great film. I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to see it. At least, no, I'm not going to the cinema. Because I have a feeling I'm going to be disappointed, Voila, that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling just my gut feeling, no shade to anyone. No one's produced any of my scripts yet, so far be it from me to say, hey, blah, blah, blah. No. But, yes. Ella says they are called endocannabinoids. Yes, we have receptors in our brain, in our body, wherever it is. Do you believe in paradise? What do you mean by paradise, Sao? Please be clearer. If you mean like the spiritual realm, then yes. If you mean another plane of existence that we call paradise, that's a spiritual place, then I suppose I do. If you mean the Garden of Eden, that's a different sort of thing, right? So what do you mean by paradise? Do you mean a place where we haven't got to yet? Do you mean it's a place that you go after you die? Do you mean that that's a place where you truly live? Why don't you carry her like a man? Because she can carry him like a woman, Robert. That's why. I think it would be awesome to be so vulnerable and, just have it's definitely something. So if he wants a strong female IDF, chayelet, right, soldierette, to carry him, I say yes, more power to you. Yudidyao says, the Haredi used the Torah to run away from responsibilities. Does that mean the Torah is sometimes not kosher? Like I said, the Torah is here for people who live in this world to carry out, meaning it's a world of good and evil, and by the time the Torah comes down here from the spiritual roots, right, from the very origin of creation, by the time we have it here, like encoded, encrypted, and yet right there in plain sight, changed a little bit, tweaked a little bit, and again, the dots over the letters. It means that people can use the Torah in a non-kosher way. Obviously, they consider it to be the kosher way because the state of Israel is a secular state, and that goes against things they believe in, and so they believe that what they are doing is the kosher thing, using the state for their benefit in order to have Torah, procreate, and carry out their duties in the world as God-fearing men and women, okay, in the modern Jewish world. So they consider their highest responsibility to study Torah no matter what, which means that for them, it can take away from other responsibilities. It says in Pirkei Avot, "Heveh mima'et ba'esek va'asok b'Torah," do little business and a lot of Torah. The thing is, and here's where it breaks down, there are different people in the Talmud, right? And it says what they would do for Shabbat, and it says what they would do for a living. And there was one sage, I don't recall his name, he had a shop. And when he made enough money for that day, he would close up, go study, go learn Torah, go to the Beis Midrash, right? Go to the Beit Midrash and learn some Torah. Your day is done. You made the whatever profit you needed to make for today. Now, don't, whatever comes tomorrow comes, you go learn. Less business, more Torah. The thing is with the Haredi community here in Israel, and I'm generalizing broadly, if we're talking about running away from responsibilities, some of them don't work, some of them don't serve in the military, or in lieu of military service, national service, something for the community. And they receive different benefits from the government, and I'll leave it at that. To me, that means that if you're not working, but you can, and you can serve in the military, but you won't, and you can do national service, but you choose not to, and you say it's in the name of God and Torah, that to me, simply because of the way I grew up, modern Orthodox and not Haredi Orthodox, if you will, that just says to me, nay, you're gravely misunderstanding a fundamental part of Torah, which is the thing that you're claiming to want to hold on to. But once again, I'm just a simple dumbass in the Middle East. I'm not going to indict an entire community. I'll just say that as someone who does work and does serve in the military and in reserves up until a few years ago, and then I was discharged, I don't think that is the right path. Because if you're saying that it is the Israeli army proper, then join. And if you're saying that it's like the army of the nations, then you still need to join because it's the law of the land. And in times when Haredi communities, Orthodox communities in the diaspora, when the people would come around to draft people, they would draft the Jews too. They don't care about your religion. Come on, your number's up. Let's go. You're conscripted. You're drafted. You're in. whatever it is. Come on. No ifs, ands, or buts. They take you by force. And I'm not talking about a lot of modern day Western whatever. I'm talking about, way back when. And still in some locations. The point is, it feels like they are having it both ways. Now, normally I wouldn't mind. I have things both ways too, and I cherry pick everything. But when it's something so fundamental as work and Torah, military service and Torah, national service and Torah, the name of God, L'Shem Shamayim, for the sake of God, as it were, for His name, it's something that I am deeply, deeply discomforted by. It's disconcerting, to say the least, that they would consider this to be the epitome of orthodoxy and halacha, when I see a few things that are so not. And just to level things, the Torah, prayer, charity, these are things that the Haredi world excels in. And this too is something that keeps creation afloat. And so maybe some of them don't work and receive benefits, and so much, in the politics. But I do believe that eventually, ultimately, Torah is important, seriously important. And I'm not even saying draft them all to the army. I'm saying, by the way, there should be 100,000, I don't know, 10,000. That's how it started, right? Ben Gurion, he let the Haredis not join the army, a few hundred. Now, it's in the tens and tens of thousands that are not going into the army every year. And so I do believe that Torah protects and shields, and it's part of this world, it's part of creation, and it's a duty of the Hebrew man or woman, right? To get some Torah in. Better your ways. It doesn't have to be necessarily Talmud or Mishnah or Halacha or whatever. It needs to be some Torah. It can be just the 5 books of Moses, straight up, go. And it bugs me. It really, really bugs me. Okay, let's continue. Watch the documentary called Tempura, says Mean Dude. All right, Mean Dude. Savasi333 says, Baba Metzia 114 Amud Bet, please explain. Okay, hold on. Wait, but what? That's an entire Amud. What in Baba Metzia? Yud Aleph. What in Baba Metzia? Let me know. In the meantime, while you answer, let's continue here. In Isaiah, it says the Lord sits upon the circle of earth. Right, so again, the name Lord, I don't recall here offhand if it's Adonai or Elohim in this particular verse, right? And circle of earth, it's a certain divine revelation. And it, again, pertains to how the relationship between the different emanations and revelations of God. Yes, this probably pertaining to the lower sphere, to Malchut. Wait, watching or watch? You're saying watching the documentary. I'm sorry, Mean Dude. Nobody needs to watch it. You're watching. Okay. Give shout out to Jimmy Seville and Gary Glitter, please. A shout out from Just B.O.B. and from me, tee-hee-hee, to Jimmy Seville and Gary Glitter. Yudityahu says, so did Yehoshua, son of Nun, Jeremiah, was the descendant of Rachav the prostitute. So did Yehoshua. Okay, wait. I'm not sure what you were referring to before. Okay. Free Palestine, says Roy. I agree. Free the Palestinians from Hamas. Thank you for supporting Israel. Wait, I saw something there before. What was it? I'm dating an escort, says Zach R. Thoughts? Well, then you're not really dating her, are you? Or are you? Oh, I'm sorry. You're dating an escort. You're not using her for her escort services. I think that if you know that she's an escort and you're okay with it, then far be it from me to ruin something that's good. I'll just say that if depends on when she told you. If she was honest and straight up about it, then I guess you're a good match, because you said, yeah, let's do this. And if she told you at some point where it was already way, way in, and, then on a case-to-case basis, it really, really does change. Okay, let's see. Are you a yoga guru? Ideal for Life asks. No, I had one 1 year of weekly yoga in my first year in yeshiva. It was lovely, wonderful as an introduction, as a prelude, not prelude, as a right wonderful before meditation or before Tai Chi, which we also had there that year. Zach, if it's okay with you, then it's okay. Others' opinion doesn't matter. Exactly, Rasol Gzirat, it's spot on. Okay. Baba Mitzia, please explain. Yes, I'm there. No, I'm not a rabbi, Rizler. I'm just a common dumbass from the Middle East. I'm not a scholar, not a rabbi, not a. Yes, Hoshea married a zonah. Correct. Hoshea married a prostitute. That's what it says. On the other hand, you have people like Rambam who say, no, it's all allegory. It's all about what happened in the mind's eye of the prophet, and that's how it was written down. That's what he saw himself do. Again, these are things that are meant to point people back to the 5 books of Moses, back to the Hebrew covenant of old, which means that it doesn't really matter what the prophets did. What matters is now we have it here in a book. Here's how it was conveyed to us. They chose carefully what to leave in and what to keep out, or at least to some degree. And now we need to figure out what we're doing with these texts, with these books, which were not mandated again to be written down. The 5 books of Moses were to be written down. The others were canonized later as a collection of texts, a library, right, of Hebrew thought, word, prayer, philosophy, wisdom, poetry. Okay, did you know your pupils are the last part to stop working when you die? They dilate. So the last nerves kind of exist in your eye. It's interesting. According to the teachings of the Ari, it's the light that came out of the eyes, as it were. Again, anthropomorphizing the divine revelation. The light that came out of the eyes of Adam Kadmon, of that primordial revelation that we can't even speak of because it's so unknowable. The light that came out from the eyes is what caused the famed breaking of the vessels. Now again, I don't go with the Ari, but it's still very, very interesting, right? And they say that the eyes are the window to the soul, and that whole thing. It's part of why we look at the flame of the Shabbos candles, the Hanukkah candles, and the Yartzeit candle, and the Havdalah candle. No, he's a rabbit. That's right, I am a rabbit. Oh yeah. Nah, just crazy. That's right, Givy. I am a little crazy. Because we're never going to survive unless we get a little crazy. Quick, who said that? Let me know in the comments. Have you read Douglas Reed, The Controversy of Zion, Baroque Blues? Like the name. I like the name. No, I have not. Please tell me, what is it about? I'd love to know. Oh, wow, he's right on top of chat. I better get to work. Yes, I am. I decided, I'm going to take a question, but then yes, I'm skipping today. That is correct. I'm skibbity skipping. The Didyao says, some say the 10 brothers didn't sell Yosef. It was the Midianites or Ishmaelites, but for sure not the 10 brothers. The 10 brothers put him in the pit. They then took him out and sold him to the Midianites. The Midianites sold him to the Ishmaelites, and they sold him to the Egyptians, correct? Let me think. No, the Ishmaelim to the Midianim, and the Midianim to the Egyptians. That's the way it was, if I'm not mistaken. They, according to it, if they didn't sell him, they gave him away? Wasn't it Esrim Kasef, if I'm not mistaken? But okay. For sure not the 10. Well, how do you mean for sure not the 10 brothers, Udidia? Where is the surety? I'm curious. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I'm curious. INFJ, that is one of the personality types, correct? What is that, 15? Sneezer says to INFJ, sail a lot about the site, having no proof of any kind. Wait, what did he say before? What did he say? I don't know, because I'm skipping. Watching from Pakistan. Hello, Farrax in Pakistan. The Rizzler is here. I think I mentioned you. Hi there. All right, let's continue here in the chat. Q. What? You mean from Star Trek, Q? Oh, dude, I have so many questions. Skipping again today. Yes. Chat roulette. Rasol, the eyes are the window to the soul, is just a metaphor. By the way, you have to notice that everyone has own understanding of soul. Yes, obviously, what I mean to say is that it's the path to something deeper. And having the fact that the eyes are the last thing that is living, and that's the last thing that we say goodbye to as far as the nervous system is concerned. It's the last thing that is technically biologically alive, according to what he said. I'm sorry, who said it? It was who was Blood Nose? Who said it? Who said it? Who said it? Blood Nose, yes. So he says it's the last part to stop working, right? To stop receiving the stimulus. And if that's the last one, okay. The guy made you shout out of the worst pedophiles from the UK. I don't care. Here, check it out. Shout out to all the pedophiles in the UK, existing or, or pre-pedophiles. Also, and this is supposed to mean what? What? Charles Manson. Oh. Okay. All these stories contradicting the Tanakh are not to be humiliated. It defeats the story if Hoshea really didn't marry a Zonah. No, I disagree. It doesn't defeat the story, because the story is supposed to be you understanding something about yourself and the nature of your existence. And the fact that you could even, let's say, bear children in the sense of the deeds that you do and their consequences, and their names, their essence will be ones that seemingly contradict, right? Lo ami, lo ruchama. And then something changes. It's not what's in a name. These names mean something, and then they change. Because even though Hoshea's woman, right, Gomer bat Divlaim, if I'm not mistaken, was her the prostitute? I might be mistaken. Even if, wait, hold on. Savachi, tell me what there. I'm not going to read the entire thing. It's an entire Amud of Talmud. If you give me the sugya or the line or the debate or give me something to work with, and I'll be able to explain. But by and large, if I'm not mistaken, Baba Metzia is arba'a avot nezikin. Or I might be wrong. Okay. So I understand. There are many people who say that if the Tanakh didn't actually happen, the whole thing is null, void, gone, out the window, everything. It means absolutely nothing. It's now, fire, kindling. Pardon? Okay, and I say that even if we say that it's only stories, they were still canonized, carefully selected, put together, despite no commandment saying that this is what ought to be, which means that there's something there for me to still glean and understand and derive wisdom from. Usually I will say on what not to do. Good night, my love, sweet dreams. Not what not to do, more than what to do. Okay. What you do if you get $10 crore, says Shashi Singh. What you do if you get... Pardon? No, it says crore dollars. I don't know what crore are. Freak! Seal said that. Agreed. So we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. Who covered that? Who covered it? Who was it? Oh, come on, it's on the tip of my schnoz. I don't remember. B-Freak says, if I drink enough whiskey, my eyes can't allow my memory to what, B-Freak? Can't leave a dude hanging? Well, if he drinks enough whiskey, his eyes can't allow his memory to... Yes, exactly. Well, somebody who has had his fair share of whiskey back in the day, and I liked having it between the fish and the meat in the Shabbos meals, and now, of course, I don't partake of meat or fish or alcohol, but... That's from my weekly, that's from my Bar Mitzvah Torah portion. ויאמר אני אוסף אחיכם אשר מכרתם אותי ציימה, ועתה אל תעצבו, ואל יכר בעיניכם כי מכרתם אותי הנה, כי למחיה שלחני אלוהים לפניכם. Q once again supporting Israel with that flag of Palestine. Q, thank you so much. Okay, let's continue. You have a sweet boy. Yes, I have several, Rasol, and they are lovely. Okay, let's continue. Hey, Super Jew, good to see you. I'm not a super Jew, I'm a subpar Jew. Marco, hi there, hi there. Good to see you again. Too many crappers flooding the chat. So are you vegan? Why no fish, no meat? Yes, indeed, I am vegan. I was vegetarian for a while, and then I went vegan. Been without meat or fish for, I'd say, 14 years? Something like that. Nice one. Hello, sir. Hello to you, nice one. How long is he behind on chat? 40 minutes? No, I'm just skipping ahead here, Marco, so I'm here with you. I see a question, I rant, I ramble, I blah, 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 I spew my verbal diarrhea, and then I get back to the eggs, dairy too, correct, no eggs, no dairy. And with the Nazarite vow, no grapes, no raisins, no wine vinegar. Right. Baruch says Palestinians are the rightful owners to the land. The people occupying it are from Khazaria. And once again, I say, even if they are from Khazaria, they are Hebrew converts, which makes them part of the Hebrew covenant, which gives them every right to the Hebrew land. But nobody owns the land. There's no human being who owns the land. Adonai owns the land. God owns the land. We merit staying there with our actions, or we get kicked out of it. And so we will see. Time will tell. The Torah says, people of Israel, if you misbehave, you transgress, you do wrong things, you'll get your ass kicked to remind you of who you are and what you are meant to do and who you are meant to be and what you're meant to carry out in the world. Why no vinegar? Because everything that is derived from grapes is not permitted to the Nazarite. However, grain vinegar, which is most, let's say, industrial grade food vinegar, then yes. Can I ask you a question, please? Is there a link? Yes, Jacob the Jew. You can catch me on X or YouTube, right in the community tab, or Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. DM me, I'm there. I don't post much, but I'm in the DMs. Hebrew Nazarite, find my tree. Baroque Blue says it's pretty brutal, the kosher process of torturing animals. No, the actual slaughter is quite humane, all things considered. Everything leading up to that is more often than not complete physical and psychological torture that no being should go through. Wow, so you are vegan for religious reasons and not ethical. I'm vegan for religious reasons and ethical reasons. The Nazarite vow, as I see it, in my own understanding, and the Nazarite vow touches on something that is very much at the root of life, as it were, the way I'm supposed to live it. And so the veganism was very natural to me because there is another prohibition in the Nazarite vow which I do not undertake as a Samson Nazarite and not a Numbers 6 Nazarite. And that's to abstain from contact with dead bodies, humans, corpses. Other things, other animals, you can come in contact with the dead body, but not humans. Point is that I saw it as a way to sanctify life instead of abstaining from defilement of human death. And it went very, very much in line, JM, with my understanding of the Nazarite vow and how I wanted to carry myself out under that vow. So yes, it very much is part of it, but it's not an actual part. A Nazir or Nazira, a Nazarite man or a woman do not have to be vegan by any means. No honey for HN, no honey either. Vegan, it's okay, but don't a radical one. Radicals usually trying to stop my porky. Oh no, I'm not a militant vegan. I'm not a judgy vegan. I'm not a in-your-face vegan. I'm just a run-of-the-mill dumbass vegan. I would love to have a discussion. All right, hey, by all means, I have a lot of discussions in the DMs across the different platforms. Sometimes I'm too busy. Sometimes the answers, are shorter than. But definitely contact me. I'm always up for a good chat. Yes. זכרו ראשונות מעולם, כי אנוכי אל ואין עוד אלוהים. Okay. Nice one. Kanan, Kanapti, Bapanin, Hindistana, Kheldini. Okay, let's see if I can translate that little tidbit thing. It doesn't recognize it as anything. I will try and translate. Sir, have you heard that Ganapati Bappa is coming to India? I can't say that I have, and I do not know what it's about, but please do explain it to me in the chat. The Higher Observer says, are vegan people allowed to eat grass-fed bison? Well, I guess every vegan is allowed to do whatever the vegan wants to do. I suppose some would maintain it only as a diet, and other people would maintain it more as a lifestyle, where you won't even, let's say, wear other things, but you won't partake of animal products, but you will wear them, or I don't know what. So I'm assuming that if we're talking about a bison, I'll tell you what, appa, right? Appa, vegans are allowed to eat the Avatar's bison. The thing is that nobody wants to. See, they're allowed, technically, but nobody wants to. Thanks for explaining, JM says. Hey, thanks, any explanation, anything, you shouldn't be following or doing anything with what I'm saying. You should take everything with a grain of salt and hummus. Yes. Talmud Bavli, Baba Batra, 54b. Listen to me very carefully, Savachi. You are giving me the tractate, the Masechet. So far, so good. You are giving me the page. So far, so good. You're giving me the column, Amud, bit. But that's a lot of Gemara. That's a lot. So you need to be more specific. Don't just give me the tractate and the page and the column. Please give me the actual sugya. Who, what, give me a quote, something. Because I can't right now, anyway, go through a page of Gemara and give you the explanation live on air. And I'll say more than that. During my time in yeshiva, which was lovely and bountiful and all good things, just about. However, I'm not a Talmud Chacham. I'm not a Talmudic scholar. I did study Talmud, I did study Mishnah, I did study Halacha, but I put more emphasis on other studies. And since I left yeshiva almost 20 years ago, or how old am I? Yes, just about 20 years ago, yeah. Then I did not continue studying Talmud regularly. I studied Mishnah regularly, but not over 20 years. I simply have picked it up again and again and studied it for a time over the course of time. Talmud, Gemara, Bavli, Yerushalmi, I haven't studied it regularly again, perhaps ever. But I'm looking forward to the time when I will get back into Talmud. As such, my dear Savachi, I can't explain an entire page of Gemara on the fly, and even if I could, I wouldn't be able to do it here and now in the live stream because it's a dynamic and running live stream. So contact me in the chat. Talk to me about what it is more precisely in the Amud that you don't understand, in the column, in the page, 54b that you don't understand, and in the previous one in Baba Metzia as well. And I will do what I can. Also, tell me, are you reading Schuttenstein? Are you reading Steinsaltz? Are you reading straight up Vilna? What type of Gemara are you using? And what type of commentary are you using, if at all? So all of these questions need answering if I'm going to explain what's going on in that sugya, in that discussion, in that debate in the Talmud. Because even though I'm not a Talmud Chacham, I think I'd know enough, a little bit, to maybe try and scratch something that could be an explanation, though probably not in depth. But okay, here we go. BMXers is not in his house, says Robert. Indeed. The Everything Team, I'm so confused, he says. Indeed, so confused. Okay, let's continue. I just looked up Jacob the Jew and can't find you, B-Freak says. B-Freak, you were cut off before, or what? I'm a Nachmanide. A Nachmanide is Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman. Rambam is Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. So, okay. Let's continue. Did you study Sanhedrin 94? Hebrew Nazarite says Yashan Benjamin. Wait, was this something that I put in the notes to do last week? Or was it something different? I put something there. No, that was Sanhedrin 43, Amud Aleph, which I haven't gotten to yet. I can't recall offhand, like I said. Talmud is not my thing, hasn't been for many years. I look forward to getting back into it. But I don't remember Sanhedrin 94 right offhand, which means that I may have studied things of it, but I don't recall it offhand. But what about it, Yashan Binyamin? Also, again, my view of Talmud, please understand, is that it was something that happened that should not have happened, but happened as a result of the destruction and exile and blood and bloodshed that was going on, the persecution, and it's not the ideal. It isn't. The ideal is for it to remain oral and be updated from generation to generation as an ongoing dynamic thing. And when you write down an oral tradition, it stagnates. And you can still do a lot with it, but it stagnates. And over the course of nearing 2,000 years, it's very highly problematic in a lot of ways. And I see this from de facto, how halacha is carried out now by different facets of Orthodox Judaism. There's a lot of wonderful things to halacha, modern day halacha too. It's a wonderful path. It's a wonderful way. But there are still some things there that I could not abide by. Ella asks, how big does a corpse have to be before you can't touch it? Any part of a human being. Any part. Which is also why the people like Zaka, Chesed Shel Emet, first responders of the religious kind, let's say, they come to a disaster, war, accident. They pick up every tiny piece of human corpse because every bit counts. I ask because we all have microorganisms that live and die on us all day long. How do you reconcile this? I reconcile it because those things are independent of you, and some of them are dependent actually, but they are organisms that stand on their own. I understand they're parasitical. There's a kind of symbiosis. How big does it have to be? According to, let's say, I'll give it to you from the laws of food. Okay? Here's what it says. In the laws of food, right? You're not allowed to have bugs in your food, right? Certain bugs, not kosher. Other bugs, dig in. So, the bugs that are not allowed, okay? The non-kosher bugs. If you have produce, there might be bugs in it. You need to check your produce. Okay, you need to kosher it. People do it in different ways and make sure that there's nothing there. With the advance of microscopes that can see into the produce on a very deep level, we found all these microorganisms, and so people became even more kosher and more machmir, more strict, and they said, okay, we need to not have it touch the ground, and different methods were employed and ideas were carried out in order to make the produce as kosher as can be, because of these microorganisms that you can't see, but you know are there. The thing is that when it comes to food, there's the idea of consuming. Okay. If you consume a certain amount, kazait, kabeitza, whatever it is, this amount of grams, that amount of grams, there's a threshold. There is a threshold to tum'ah and tahara, to cleanliness and uncleanliness, religious purity and impurity, right? Ritual cleanliness and uncleanliness. There's a threshold, meaning, if you have a certain amount of ants in your food that's below the threshold, then it means that, according to some, perhaps, it would be permissible. And then there was another opinion right afterwards that said, no, that wouldn't be permissible either way, because that thing in and of itself is an organism. If you can see it, it doesn't matter if it's one ant. One ant weighs absolutely nothing, yet it would make your food not kosher to eat before the ant is removed. Right? Because B'riya b'fnei atzma, that's what the Mishnah says. That is a creation unto itself, in and of itself, as such. It's a complete creation. By that rationale, if you had just below the threshold, let's say it's 24 grams, if you had severed ants just below the threshold, not a complete being, not a complete creation, okay, just below the threshold, it means that if you were to eat it, you're not allowed to eat it, but if you were to eat it, you would still be considered ritually pure and not unclean. But once again, with the advent of technology and microorganism viewing, I don't know Tum'ah v'Taharat Met. It's not something that I know offhand. I know, right, because there's Tum'at Masa, Tum'at Ohalim. There are different Tum'ot that have to do with Tum'at Met, with the defilement of death, which is problematic for the Nazarite, the high priests. So as for them being a part of us, I'm not sure where the rubber meets the road in that respect. I'm not sure where it meets the road there, in the sense of where does it come together. However, I do know that there's a threshold of Tum'ah v'Tahara. And I do know that there's a... So Sneezer says, I don't think microorganisms count. Being a part of us, we couldn't exist. Right, okay, so it's, again, there's a symbiosis here, and there's a dependency here, and sometimes they are parasitic in nature, I don't know what. Is beard important in Judaism if you are a Jew? Well, what is it that you attribute importance to? It was important for me as a Jew. Other Jews, it's not important for. But what's important is that if you shave, you don't do it with a razor and rip things out of the root. You do it with a shaver or with scissors, and you leave the beard alive in the subdermal, if you will. You leave that alive. Hebrew Nazarite, how did you lock up your hair? Did you use beeswax or gel? No, this is 100% natural Nazarite dreads. I didn't use any products. I just kept my hair washed. Didn't use conditioner for a long time. Just shampoo. And then there was, I used baking soda and apple cider vinegar as shampoo and conditioner respectively. Diluted, of course, with essential oils. I haven't done that in a very long time, but in the beginning of the process, I was letting them simply grow naturally. Speaking of which, I'll let them go. They've been hiding. Hang on a second. Oh, this is better. This is better. What a good idea this was. Oy. Okay. Here. Chaim. Fun fact. This is water. You're not supposed to say l'chaim on water. Should not have happened, so not God's will. No, it was God's will, let's say, that was brought about by the evil doings of the Israelites. The oral tradition is not meant to be written down. Hence, that's why it's Torah shebe'al peh, the Torah that is on the mouth. And the fact that it had to be written down was not a good thing, but it was a good thing in how it was carried out because of religious orthodoxy, rabbinic Judaism. Then the Torah shebichtav and Torah shebe'al peh have managed to not just survive, but thrive in their way, in a post-temple oral Torah has been written down kind of way. And there's a lot to that. I must always say that there's so much to it. I simply decided to take a step back. Isn't long hair forbidden? Yeshua didn't have long hair. He was Orthodox. Long hair is not forbidden at all in any way, shape, or form. What is forbidden is to grow your hair for a certain time, or cut your hair if you're a Nazarite. But it's definitely not forbidden in any way, shape, or form. All right, Yashan Binyamin says, Sneezer 6... Oh, well, he says that to Sneezer. Joe Waters says, God made pigs. Pigs have bacon. You know why? The Lord cares about your breakfast. I concur. I agree. I am very much for people hunting. I am very much for people growing their own things, because at least then, when you take the animal down, you look it in the eye. Agricultural farming, modern day, supermarket animal products, it's accessible, it's wonderful, people are getting nourished, but the way is problematic, because the intimacy, the connection between the living things has been severed by a lot of buffers and filters and god-awful things. So pigs have bacon is correct, and the Lord cares about your breakfast. I agree. I wouldn't eat them anyway. It's not kosher. I'm just saying that the way that it's being done now, I'm all for people, like I said, hunting, growing it themselves if they can. At the very least, doing it in a way where, I don't know. Look, it's asking too much. Yes, go to a farm and no, you go to the supermarket, you get your meat. I get that, I do. Ideally speaking, I have a lot of respect for hunters and those who raise their own food. Awesome Levite locks. Indeed. Oh, I name my meals first too. That's nice. Arzu says, I am Muslim, I have Jew relatives in Israel now. Good for you. Salam alaikum. Ragnar Yahuwah says, scriptures say that hair is a woman ornament, not men. For men it say beard is the ornament. Well, first of all, that's in the New Testament. I don't consider the New Testament scripture or God's word in any way, shape, or form. And for the Nazarite, or for the Nazarite, it literally is an adornment or an ornament. That's why it's called nezer. That's why it says that the crown of his consecration is on his head, the crown of the Lord's consecration, because it is an ornament precisely, but something that grows from within you organically. So for men, it's considered, by and large, for the Hebrew man, it's better to keep your hair short because the hair represents judgment, the left hand, narrowness, constraints, wrath, vengeance, and all of that. On the other hand, it's also that fervor, religious fervor, and positive things that come with heat, with fire. But yes, generally speaking, for men, it's the beard that's the ornament, and hair for women. And for the Nazarite, specifically, it's hair. Fragment says, wanting to watch the life drain out of your food's eyes is psychopathic. Well, I think that if your lips are uttering the blessing, if you are talking to the individual, if you are connecting with it, it's exactly not psychopathic because you are giving it the respect that it deserves. And when you do it, it's not in the psychopathic, this means nothing, this is just air, nobody really truly exists but me. That's psychopathy, right? I'm going to use this for my benefit and that's it. No. You say a prayer, you say a blessing, you connect with the animal, you put your hand on its heart or you stroke it a few times, you give it some kindness before you, as humanely as possible, sever that windpipe, which is shchita, and then a couple of other simanim. Okay. So I don't consider it psychopathic. Obviously, it can be if you are psychopathic and you're like, you know, that could be psychopathic for sure. Yashan says, I am a maroon. We are not. I am a maroon. We are not a religion, Sneezer. I don't recall saying I was Rasta. I am a Jamaica maroon. It comes from Marano, a term for Jews. Cloud says, wow, how do you remember all this? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Wait, what? Howdy, where are you from? I'm in Jerusalem, Mr. Cloud. Alazu says, Robert, are you officer? How come you know, are you living with them together? Huh? What? Are you a... Sean Hurwitz hunts good? Yes, my brother is a hunter. Russell, he isn't a rabbi, but a rabbit. I repeat, he is a holy and furry rabbit. Run away! Yes, indeed. I'm the rabbit in, I'm the Holy Grail Monty Python rabbit. Maximilian Rudak gives the peace sign and the Palestine flag. Thank you for supporting Palestine's effort to get rid of Hamas, Maximilian. Thank you for supporting Israel in its just war against these terrorist bungholes. Baruch says, the New Testament is just as much God's word as the Old Testament. Read Joel S. Goldsmith. Okay, so here's the deal. I read the New Testament once. Obviously, it could very well be that it's the word of God. The reason I say that it's not the word of God is because when I read it the one time, okay, I was in touch a lot more with the gospel than I was with any other part. And that's because I saw Yeshua, Jesus, act in a way which very much aligns with the way that I would think a Hebrew man or woman should act at such a tumultuous and difficult time when the Romans are there, right? And the temple is about to be destroyed, not long afterwards. It is as much God's word as the Old Testament for those who take it as God's word. I don't take it as God's word because I see it diverging from Torah after the gospel, okay? And again, I believe Jesus is a dead man, no more, no less, a potential Messiah, a potential king, a potential sage, a potential prophet, all of that. And still I say that it's not, for me, the same God's word in the same way that it's not the Old Testament. God's word, as it were, is the 5 books of Moses. After that, it's prophecies, writings, scrolls, psalms, but not the 5 books of Moses. I differentiate in the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, the first 5 from the other 19. There's a very big break there. All the other books and the prophets and the writings are pointing you back to the 5 books of Moses. So I don't think the Old Testament is God's word. I think parts of the Old Testament, 5 books of Moses, are God's word as it was revealed to Moses, and even that over time has been tweaked a little bit, and changes, and things have been implemented or taken out or substituted to some degree, even a minute one. So let's be very clear. But if you're saying that the New Testament is just as much on the level as the writings and the prophets, I would say, okay, to you, definitely. But I saw in the in the Acts and in the letters and in Revelation and in Revelation is all allegorical from what I've gathered, but so forget Revelation for now. Maybe Revelation is in there and I don't know because I'm ignorant. However, I will say that I felt a lot more positively, let's say, about the gospel, and the others just didn't speak to me, and I saw it how it clearly was going to go off the rails of Torah and of Judaism, of the Hebrew path. And I'm not even talking about Orthodox Judaism. I'm talking about mainstream 5 books of Moses, Hebrew faith. Okay. As for Joel S. Goldsmith, I'll put it in my notes. I can't say that I will or won't, but I'll definitely put it in my notes. Is there a paper or a book or an essay that you want to recommend? Please let me know. Otherwise, I'll just put your name down here. Baroque blues. Do you play Baroque music? And is it bluesy? Please do let me know. I am curious. Okay, let's continue. Why did Jews destroy Madonna? Well, if you're talking about Madonna, the singer, the recording artist, then I didn't know that Jews destroyed her. If you're talking about the Madonna, right, Maron, if you're talking about the Mary, mother of Jesus, I don't know if we destroyed her either. So if you could be more specific. What I do know is that Madonna at some point got in touch with Kabbalah from the Kabbalah Center in L.A., and I am not a Kabbalist. I'm a student of the Tree of Life. Far be it for me to say what the right path is for which path of Kabbalah to follow. It just looked rather from her behavior outward, completely outward, only external, that she wasn't manifesting. I don't know what type of Kabbalah she was learning. So forget it. I have nothing to say about that. I don't know if we destroyed her or didn't destroy her. Who knows? No Jew can destroy Maradona. Maradona or Madonna? Because you said Madonna, you said Maradona. Madonna's still alive. Diego Armando Maradona is dead. Oi, says President XI. Oi, indeed. Oi vey. Explain the origin history of Jewism, Amar says. Well, do you mean the Hebrew faith or do you mean Jews? Because Jews are the remnants of the kingdom of Judah. The kingdom of Judah was exiled from the land of Judah almost 2,000 years ago. No, Madonna, singer, you teached her Kabbalah and now she looks like a demon. So again, I don't know what Kabbalah she's been learning, but I've heard that it's a kind of Kabbalah that is there to give access to those who are not of the Hebrew faith, or I'm not sure how to put it. I don't know what she's learning. So I can't tell you. I can tell you as a student of the Tree of Life that depending on the master, the student will go in a certain way. And I don't know who her master is. I don't know who she's been learning from. Robert says the Babylonian Talmud and Jerusalem Talmud is not older than the New Testament. I agree, it isn't. Correct. John Doe says, and the Lord spoke to the children of Israel, I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. John Doe quotes Genesis 12:3. Indeed, indeed, indeed. But that's not in... That can't be Genesis 12:3. No, okay, exactly. He says it to Abraham. That's what I thought. I was like, they're no children of Israel then. Okay. Amal, for origin, said Sneezer, it would have to have begun with Moses' revelation on the mountain. I guess that's where it begins, but again, the Torah as being something which God looked at and created the world, as they say. Have you seen her debates with Shmuley? Yodidiahu says. Madonna's debates with Rav Shmuley? No. But I know that from what I've seen, and it's not a lot, Rav Shmuley, depending on who he's debating, I suppose, he goes ad hominem quickly, and he shouts. He's aggressive. Now, sometimes it's warranted. Sometimes there's merit to it and utility, but I like a more peaceful, calm, civil debate. I don't like I don't like it. Hey, James Bong is here. James Bong is here. Shalom, all you beautiful people of the world. Shalom indeed. Incidentally, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. I'll take a quick break for a word from our sponsor. Hello, it's me. Thank you for being here. I appreciate everything you're doing over here in the chat. Those watching now, those watching later. Every view, every like, every sub, every horrified swipe. Oh, what's that? Everything is so lovely. I love doing this. You guys make it happen. You guys and gals make it happen. It's fun to share anecdotes and Torah and wisdom and whatever, and do lowly things and foolish things and silly things and answer stupid questions and answer smart questions that sound stupid and stupid questions that sound smart, and mention worst pedophiles and do other things. You know, every troll, every insult. It's fun. It's fun. It really is. I know Kabbalah, President Excise said. What type of Kabbalah do you know? Jew fan from India here. Oh, okay, cool. Nice to see. Nice, Amal. Nice. Madonna Bloodnose says, Madonna may be the harlot of desolation prophesied to stand in the holy place. Well, I wouldn't know. Listen, I respect what she has done as an artist. And, right, you need to, you can't, if you're just like everybody else, then you can't be a true original. I'm paraphrasing something I heard from Arnold Schwarzenegger in his motivation speeches and stuff. Or, you know, people said it to music, whatever, in one of those motivation videos. He said you can never be an original or a true maverick if you just go by the rules all the time, because then you'll be doing what everybody else is doing all the time. You need to, at some point, know which rules to break. You need to be smart about it. You need to be wise about it, but break some rules. The thing is that if you're able to break the rules that are the convention within society, but then, after breaking those rules, you give back to society. Meaning you don't just do it for your own hedonic whatever, egocentric whatever. No, you bring something back to the community. Then there's something there, right? There's something there in that progression that has righteousness to it. Again, the ends do not justify any means. But as an idea of an artist and being somebody who is an original and kicking conventions and slamming down, you know, whatever, and saying, this is me, this is what's going on, this is the here and now. And I still occasionally listen to her earlier stuff, late 80s, early 90s. Human nature, right? That's like the epitome, and I'm not sorry, right? That's like, I'm just doing my thing. Oops, I didn't know we couldn't talk about sex. It's like, that she was an artist, and she still is an artist. I haven't seen her lately, but at the time, at least, late 80s, early 90s, I can appreciate that, as a fellow artist or writer or somebody who tries to be a little bit creative. I get that. So you think that harlot, it's pertaining to a single individual, or does it change according to every generation? There's a certain individual, and she is the harlot? Why do some people hate Jews? I have a few theories, each as nonsensical and dumbass-like as the next. It's simply part of the sport, part of the pastime of this world to hate on Jews, and sometimes it's warranted, but most likely it isn't. WD 40? WD says, it is not necessary to respect another's belief, but it is necessary to respect that they have beliefs. Agree or disagree? What do you mean by respect? That's what that means. Necessary to respect to what degree? Just as an absolute, I respect, which means I give respect. Do I put myself second? Where does it meet me? But generally speaking, just as such, it is necessary to respect that they have beliefs. Yes, because that's a kind of common ground. To respect another's beliefs a priori, that would be foolishness. But to respect the fact that they have them, at least that opens up a window to understanding, because I might have beliefs too. And that means finding common ground. And as such, it's common ground, it's not complete submission to those beliefs. So that's what I have to say about that. As a religion, it began with Moses' revelation. Yes, correct. My closer friend, says Arzu, who is a Jew who has lived in Turkey. I guess you're responding to someone. Yeah, but do you know, says Ragnar, the meaning of the word Kabbalah? Kabbalah, cube, God. Well, it's not Allah, it's Kabbalah kuf bet lamed hey. So no, that's not what it means at all. If anything, Kabbalah means kav, which is a kind of measure, to her, la. But that's not what that means either. Kabbalah means to receive. That's the meaning of the word. Torah is eternal, yes. It has an eternal element to it, yes. But the different commandments will be null and void when they are no longer necessary, because that which they are meant to bring into being, into creation, the unity between the divine masculine and feminine presence that this specific mitzvah or good deed is supposed to bring about, if that is complete, that mitzvah is already leaving us. And at some point they say certain books will be lifted out of the Bible, certain texts will no longer be necessary, certain mitzvahs will no longer be necessary, we will all know God, right? He will pour his spirit upon all flesh, as it were, this revelation of humankind united, very simply, very purely, in the same way, like I said, that we all agree that the sun rises in the east, we will agree, yes, here is the divine revelation in all of its splendor, in all of its glory, and what's more, we have done what we can in order to purify ourselves, for better or worse, to use a cliched term, and we are able now to receive, for we have prepared a vessel as individuals, as a collective humankind. What loveliness that would be. I want to be around for that. Boaby says hello from Scotland. Hello, laddie. Ragnar says, I smile to your smile, Arzu. Let's continue. Let's skip ahead here. I wonder if he sees my name, Ragnar Yahuwah says. Not sure who you were talking to, but okay. Lots of comparisons, says Ariel, can be drawn to early Torah writings and ancient Egypt. Yes, from every, I believe, it makes sense anyway, that from every culture, faith, religion, path, way that the ancient Hebrews, let's say, came into contact with, from Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and the 12 tribes and onward, or the 12 brothers to the tribes, I believe they took things from there. And later on too, like the name of this month, right? Elul. The names, as opposed to the first month, the second month, the third month. Certain things we take into the fold and we kosher them, as it were. Just like when you take a kind of a dish, right, and you immerse it in a ritual pool, in a mikveh kelim, or you need to kosher your things for Passover, so you burn them with fire. There's a way of having, let's say, the wand serve a different master. Officer Oinker, love the name. Tell us about the underground tunnels and kids, you guys did horrible things too. What underground tunnels am I hearing about? Are people still talking about the Chabad underground tunnels? Is that what they're talking about? I don't know. It's been mentioned a few times. Is something going on now? I'm ignorant. Let me know. Rasol says, some Jews and Christians don't notice that Kabbalah is an occultism being practiced by some non-Jews and non-Christians. I think they reinterpreted Jewish Kabbalah. The thing with Kabbalah is that there is kosher Kabbalah and non-kosher Kabbalah in the sense of that which have a proper Hebrew origin and those which do not. Now, for the Hebrew people, you need to study with a proper master from proper sources. For those who are not Hebrew people, I suppose the Kabbalah has a lot of allure, and so they want to attach themselves to it, or at least sort of take it into their fold, and I don't blame them for it. So, depending on the Kabbalah, nowadays, practical Kabbalah, what's called Kabbalah Ma'asit, Kabbalah of Olam Ha'asiyah, of this world, right, of the world of material, of the material, and of doing, of action. That Kabbalah is not one which we are supposed to practice at large. We are supposed to learn and have it affect our everyday life, but not immerse ourselves collectively in practical Kabbalah as Kabbalah Ma'asit. Different rituals should be left for the individual masters and higher folk. And those mainstream, regular run-of-the-mill people should be studying the Ari, the Ramak, some sort of Kabbalah, Ashlag, right? Some say that's a good one too, stemming from the Ari. Though people have things to say about current modern-day Bnei Baruch Ashlag, but I digress. It means that Kabbalah can become occultism, but it can also become the thing which allows you to better your ways and receive all of the keys to your private and collective redemption as a human being here trying to bring the image of God that much closer to creation, right, and to fruition in yourself. WD says, the Lord Jehovah has given these 15, it's Mel Brooks, the 10 commandments for, yes, Mel Brooks, correct. I love it. I love Mel Brooks. I really, really do. Robert says, I think Kabbalah is dangerous, not Kadosh, like written Torah, Tanakh, and it is the word of man and not God. Well, look, it's technically Midrash, it's technically oral Torah that was written down. The thing is that they say that the truer, more real, more dangerous Kabbalah has never been written down. It still passes orally from master to apprentice. So, or from rabbi to disciple. And so it is kadosh in that sense. The real, true oral Kabbalah remains oral. When the Ari showed up in Tzfat, right, in the 16th century, that overturned a lot of things, or rather, there's a new paradigm through which to view reality. The Partzufim and all of that, a different way which, as I see it, it has to do more with the individual on a psychological level. It speaks to the individual, right? It was kind of the Kabbalah coming in alongside the Renaissance, because man was about to change and science was about to come in, and you need a new sort of Kabbalah in order to be there with the new modern times. The Ari was doing that, did that. Hasidism, which followed, I think. Anyway. So the dangerous parts, if you will, and they are dangerous, were never written down. The more dangerous, or some of them were in the course of the generations, but the more dangerous things are kadosh. Kadosh means set apart, set aside, holy, sacred, consecrated. And we sanctify these things in how we treat them, read them, learn them, use them. And the real Kabbalah that has not been written down yet, because some may maintain there is also false Kabbalah which has not been written down. The kosher Kabbalah which has not been written down yet, which is still passed orally, that is the more dangerous, I would think. However, I say more dangerous, and the written Kabbalah that's kosher is kadosh. It is. I see it very plainly, very simply, just learning my Ramak, right? Just learning my Pardes Rimonim. Because it literally has to do with how is it that you are supposed to behave and comport yourself in the world. How are you supposed to live in this world? What are you supposed to do? What is your life's purpose? How is it that you are supposed to reveal you to yourself? That's what Kabbalah, when you receive through Kabbalah, when you receive, what you are receiving is precisely that which you need in order to get yourself going. And that's why people say that the Zohar, for instance, should be read even if you do not understand the Aramaic. The Zohar's aura, if you will, its amazing quality, part of it, is that it can pull certain energies and emanations down to you, even if you don't merit it. People say that's how strong the Zohar shines. Even if you don't understand the words, simply going through them, they say, can do something to purify you, set you that much more on a path of righteousness, of goodness, of kindness, and of being a good person. And then you can receive more. But it always, without fail, comes down to the human being. What are you doing? What are you not doing? And why? Okay. Ragnar says, I wonder if you know what your magic is supposed to be doing. I'm not sure if you mean magic. We are not supposed to practice any kind of magic that is false, foreign, or through death. I'm not sure what you mean by magic. Can you give it to me? Rusty, hello Rusty. Good evening, he says. Hope all is well. Indeed. Thoughts on Hebrews being Freemasons? Well, I'll tell you. If anything, it would be the Freemasons are Hebrew. The Masons were the ones that Hiram gave Shlomo to build the temple. They say, if I'm not mistaken, that that's where they originate, in the constructors, right, of Hiram, the builders of the Temple of Solomon, of the first Mikdash in Jerusalem. So it's not that Hebrews are Freemasons. It would be the Freemasons that took on the Hebrew covenant because they were busy building this temple and maybe it got to them. As for Freemasonry itself, I've gathered that it really has old roots, maybe ancient roots. And if we are talking about Freemasons and their connection to the Hebrew people through Shlomo the king and Hiram, king of Tzor, then I need to know more about Freemasons now in the modern day to have any kind of opinion. but there's a very good chance that they are, right? Bhagavad Gita has also got great concepts. I've heard that. I don't think I've read it, but I've definitely heard it. Let's continue. Are Jews a race or a religion? Hogslayer asks. We are a people, a land, a race, a religion, an ethnicity, whatever you want to call it, we are it. That's how. How you like your hair, Giovanni asks. How do I like it? Just fine. I like it like this. Kanalal is magic arts and Moses did magic, Ragnar says. What Moses did, according to tradition, is manipulate the divine revelation and the elements and the different forces that exist in the spirit world and in the physical world and in the connection, because he was the great bridge, right? He and Aharon, his brother, his elder, they were manipulating the elements and revealing different names of God into existence, which changed reality temporarily. And that's what is said. If you consider that magic, then yes, they were practicing Hebrew magic, I suppose. Sanhedrin says that's why time is such a primal divider. All things inside time were made to become perfect, and the ability to grow thusly is perfect inside time, but outside time there is only the unchanging, right? Since Sneezer contends that the perfect and the imperfect exist in parallel, it's just that there's us within and us without. Outside time, there's only the unchanging, and we are in a world that's dynamic and constantly changing, and through our existence here, Sneezer says we will be able to arrive at that place outside time. Okay, we're right, we're supposed to grow perfect here and reach there, if I'm not mistaken, that's what he says. Stupid spell correct. Kabbalah is magic arts. No, I disagree. There is that facet of Kabbalah called Kabbalah Ma'asit, right, which is what you would consider to be magic. But Kabbalah is not magic. Kabbalah is oral Torah. It stays up here, okay, and it pervades you, and it changes how you behave, how you pray, what you do, how you act in the world. It orients you, right, in a very unique and precise way to bring divine revelation into existence through you in a way which mirrors the divine attributes. And my rabbi likened it to this. He said, let's say that there are two people driving a race car. One of them is a regular run-of-the-mill driver. The other one is a race car driver. Both of them will be able to drive this vehicle, but only one of them will be able to know the ins and outs of it so well that they will be able to manipulate it to such a degree that every tiny little nuance, every tiny little curve, every degree, they know everything about steering it, everything. Whereas the other guy would probably have some trouble in a race car. In that very same way, right, the Kabbalist is a man or woman who are surgically precise, sometimes, in the names that they are contemplating, the way they are facing, the mantras they're saying, the meditation on whatever one of the elements, the clothes that they wear, if they are with or without tefillin, if they're wearing two tefillin or an extra large tefillin on mincha. It's the magic arts, let's say, is such a, not negligible, I suppose, but yes, I'll say negligible part of the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is not here to teach you magic. The Kabbalah is here to teach you who you are and what it is you're supposed to do in the world, which is also why you need a master so you don't go astray, because a lot is hanging here in the balance. So a proper Kabbalah, a proper Mikubal, a proper master. Okay, let's continue. Sephardic Jews are the best. There's certainly a lot to Sephardic Jews and Jews that come from the Arab countries, the Eastern countries, Spain itself. Sepharad means Spain. So Spaniard Jews. Savachi, good to have you still here. I'm sorry I couldn't answer you. I hope you get in touch in the chat with something more precise and I'll be able to address it. I may not be able to explain, right? Because it's just me, but definitely I will recommend something. Now, again, whether it's Schuttenstein, Steinsalz, I'll recommend something to you where you'll be able to go forward with it. And even if it's not my explanation, it was a scholar or a sage that will explain it to you. God is the spirit behind written Torah. Hasatan is behind Kabbalah. I vehemently disagree. Truly, I disagree. But I can understand why you would think that. Let's put it that way. Rasul says, don't you notice that even Jews have own interpretations of Kabbalah? So they have their own interpretations of everything. They're Jews. That's how religions work. That's why every religion has sects. Yeah, I guess it does stem from that to some degree, the Kabbalah. Which is why, again, I don't consider myself a Kabbalist. I consider myself a student of the Tree of Life. But I certainly draw a lot from the teachings that I have been engaged in the course of my life. In 5 books of Moses, in Kabbalah, and anything else. In my own meager, measly experience, when done properly, and I'm not saying that I'm doing it properly, but I know that when done properly, it can change the way that you move in the world. It can change how you behave, how you talk, what you say, and there's a time and place for everything. But knowing when the right time and place is, that's Kabbalah. Okay. He is correcting God, just saying. Who is correcting God? Me? I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself to me. He has his opinion, but I have truth. Are you referring to me? I'm not sure, but okay. Yes, I have an opinion. This is all opinion. This is not truth. This is not, I say it's Hebrew lore because it's teachings. Some of it might even be wisdom from ancient times. But to say that it's truth would be so egocentric of me, because I'm definitely butchering these teachings. I'm definitely messing up this lore from days of yore, because by the time it comes out of my pie hole, it's been warped by who I am, for better or worse. So I wouldn't presume to be any kind of sage, master, guru, teacher, nothing. I'm just me, just a dumbass from the Middle East. I cannot state that enough. My battery is about to die, and it's been just over an hour and 34. Okay, let's see. Arzu says, please reply my question above. I'll try and find it. Where above? Oh, as a Turk, I want to ask you a question, says Arzu, because I see you are speaking frankly all subject. I do what I can. Doesn't mean it's truth. Once again, just my opinion. What do you know about Ottoman Empire? Especially they saved so many Ashkenazi Jews from Christian Spain. So the Ottoman Empire existed for a few hundred years. Was it 500 years? Maybe 6? I don't recall. Several hundred years. The Ottoman Empire also famously was in charge before the British Mandate. But I don't know enough about them. I know that they had quite the empire. And right there was a sultan, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, it was also Shabbatai Tzvi, the false messiah. Speaking of dangerous Kabbalah, he was a great Kabbalist, but he went off the path. And even if he was a potential messiah, that was a problem. He should have said that he was a potential messiah rather than messiah. A potential messiah is something people can rally behind, and like a messiah in an absolute way, he wasn't anointed by the people, I think. So anyway, but I digress with Shabtai Tzvi. I don't know enough about the Ottoman Empire there. I don't know enough. David says, David Vickers, Jesus lives inside me and I'm in a relationship with him. Thank you, God, in the mighty, powerful name of Jesus. Amen. Good for you, David. It's nice to have that relationship. I'm just going to try and plug in here. Hang on a second. I'm going to do it in such a way where I'll be able to still see you. Come on. Okay, let's do this. Hang on. There. Now it's in. I need to put this over here. Forgive me. Technical difficulties. Okay. Come on now. There. I'll just move. I'll just move here. Sorry about this. Come on already. Here we go. All right. Bit of a different angle. A little too much headroom. That's okay. What about if the master is corrupt, says Robert? Then you're probably in trouble. But I don't know. I don't know what happens if the master is corrupt. Depends to what degree, but I don't know. You can go to very, very dark and bad, I'll say, places, all the while thinking you're doing the work of God. And that's highly problematic. No, I want to put it up here. Hang on a second. I'm try raising it up a little bit. No. Hang on. Ah, okay. Okay, we're good, I hope. Yes, you should respond to sweet Arzu rather than fanatics, including me. Nearly 400 years ago, yes, Sultan. Okay, so cool. So I knew that bit. Thanks your honesty. Yeah, that's all I can be. At least in these matters. Hold on, I want to try and get this a bit higher. I don't like the angle. Come on. Ah, okay. Robert Harrison, beware of corrupt masters. I agree. But keep true to God and you should be safe. Yes, there is something to that, definitely. This man talks honest what he knows. Yes, exactly. And not even what I know. Because many times I say things that I picked up, and I can't give a caveat and an intro and a preface on every single thing, but I will just say, don't take my word for things, do your research, and take everything I say with a grain of salt. Greetings, says Yes. Hello, Yes, nice to see you again. What's your opinion, says Fragment. What's your opinion on the fact that Moses' birth story is very similar to Sargon of Akkad's? My opinion is that these stories are supposed to convey something about the way God reveals himself in the world and what we can do as a counterpart, as a co-creator, as an image of God, a reflection of the spiritual realms, right? Having the tree of life in our very body corresponding to the divine revelation, emanation of the tree of life. How should we behave? What is it that we should do? Where is it that we come from? And what are we able? What is the depths of our potential? That's my opinion on that. And like I said, the Hebrew people took different things along the way from the cultures, faiths, ways, and religions that they encountered. This includes certain deities and certain words and names of deities. I should say names, not deities, names of deities. Okay. Ragnar says we're kind of on different planets. Indeed, I suppose to a great degree we are. There's this closeness, right? Some people say Ashlag when he's talking about Rav Ashlag when he's talking about his method of Kabbalah, and he says about receiving and about, well, he says that two people can be on different sides of the world but connected in a very courageous and steadfast unity, even if they're not geographically in proximity, right? Not even if they're not occupying relative time and space that's near each other. On the other hand, you can have two people that sit one as close as can be to each other, but their minds, their hearts, and their very being is not focused on that individual. It's as far away as can be, as far as those other two are in the first example. And the wait a second. Right, being on different planets. We can be on different planets geographically in the universe, but we can come together in the way that we are united and find common ground in things that we say, ways we behave, ways we treat each other. How we treat each other, I think that is the fundamental of fundamentals. And that would be the thing that would provide, hopefully, some common ground to work off of. Harish says LSD. I haven't done LSD in a while, and I look forward to the next time I do it. What do you think about politic Zionism? I stay away from politics. I haven't voted in almost 20 years. I think that some of the religious parties and some of the political parties and some of the religious people sometimes misuse, not misuse, but I have a difference. I'm simply a different sort of person, so I see things differently than them. Also, they are in a position of influence and power, and I have neither of those things. Also, these people are usually elected officials, and I have not been elected by anyone. So far be it from me to judge or say they are wrong and I am right or anything like that. I will just say that part of why I stepped away from modern Orthodox Judaism, which is the faith and religion and sect that I grew up in, is because I saw things going on the state level, on the political level, that were completely, as I saw it and understood it, misaligned with Torah, and I couldn't abide that. So there's a lot of merit to it, but I think some people give it a bad name, and some people use God's name in order to harm others. and to benefit themselves. I'll leave it at that. That's what I think. Everything that comes from your mouth is Torah, in my opinion, Yonatan. No, you should never ever think that. You should go, Torah is Torah. The 5 books of Moses is Torah. Everything else is supposed to point you back to Torah. Hey. And no, I would be very loath to take that on, written or oral. It's just how I'm just calling it like I see it, which means that it's a risky thing, because what do I know? And so I wouldn't want you, Ariel, to end up in a bad place because I said something or did something wrong, because I do say many things wrong, and I do a lot of things wrong. And I wouldn't want that to affect you, at least in any negative way. Alaf got good singing voice. Yeah, he's a good piano player, and he's got a good, thank you. Oh, come on, dude. Hey, you're killing me here. Come on. Okay. Really? Might be on the floor. Sorry, people. Once again, technical difficulties. That's what I get for wanting to charge my battery. Ugh. Oh, and now it unplugged. What's going on? I don't want to just hold it. I want it to lie down here. Come on. Okay, another question. There we go. Okay. I only have emergency money. What do you need?
Just like 10 seconds.
You don't have that? You have cash.
No,
No, so is mine. Use yours. I don't have. If I had it, I would give it to you. Really? Are you being serious? Okay, good. It looks logical to me, actually. Nobody... Wait. What Yes said? Do you believe in a Jewish holy land? I believe that the land can be... Jose Dufferson. I believe that the land can be Jewish in the sense that Jews can settle and occupy it and live there, as of old. I believe that it can be holy if we set it apart and make it holy. And I believe that it's land like any other land, but with a higher potential for the Hebrew people. That's what I believe. But as for, I don't think it should only be Jewish. I think that all of the nations will find their place here in the promised land, the Holy Land, the land of Israel. So all of us, God willing, as a unified human race. Elas says, I think religion came from observation of nature and the stars. Right, I definitely agree with that, because some spiritual things came sort of baked right into reality, and by noticing who we are and what we're doing in our place in the world, we formed this relationship, right, with those forces of nature, those deities, and then the Torah comes along for the Hebrew people at any rate and says, yes, and these are all manifestations of just one God. Oh, come on. Come on. Okay, let's keep it here. So exactly what is the point of following the Jewish faith if there's no hell? If these Christians and Muslims threaten you to believe with eternal suffering? Well, what do you mean the point? The point of following the Jewish faith is to fulfill Torah, commandments, and covenant, and in doing so, get your act together on an individual and collective level, and then it will be like throwing a rock into a pond, and it will ripple out, and the world will then become something that is not Jews and Gentiles, Israel and Goyim, right? It would be unifying the human race and partaking of the fruit of the tree of life, which was put under guard, but not forbidden, not before or after the expulsion from Eden. So the point of the Jewish faith is for us, the tribes, to behave in such a way that it will ripple around the world, and then we will be able to catapult this very existence into a higher sort of being, a higher sort of reality. Let's put it that way. So it's not about hell or heaven in the Christian or Muslim sense at all. Jose says, to learn and experience life, if you find the love of God, that's a blessing. And I have, thank God. There's a lot of love and many blessings in my life, and I do not take it for granted, and I do not consider it a given in any way, shape, or form. That I should be so lucky is a miracle. That I should be so blessed, and that life should be so bountiful, even in the midst of this terrible war. It's no small thing, not by a long shot, and I give thanks and praises to Yah. Okay, There are many paths out of hell, all leading to the same place. It's just a matter of which is shortest, and that you've chosen a longer. So, right, I suppose to that degree it's correct. You need to purify yourself. You need to have that purification process. And if it doesn't occur here in this world, it could very well occur in an interim. But there is no hell and heaven in the Muslim or Christian sense in that way. Fragment, says Ariel, I imagine you are probably right, but fact, did you dig up the proof with clear evidence that it could not have been planted there or by any other source first and translate it personally? What was said? I thought we were talking about something else. What did Fragment say? So what exactly is the point? Okay. Was it something before that? Hey, Sir Smokes-A-Lot is back here. It's rain outside? No, not here. Goru Gore. I don't know what exactly you were talking about, Fragment Man, but you and Ariel, so okay. Does arithmology work even with non-decimal arithmetic systems? I don't know enough about arithmology. Supposedly it's what? The study of arithmetic? But according to you, it would be with only decimal? I have no idea. I'm inclined to say, ask an arithmologist. Fragment says, I didn't say anything else. I don't know what she meant by proof. Okay. Savachi says, I think you are transparent and open. I try to be. I'm not always there, but I try to be. So I will follow you. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I appreciate the vote of confidence. And listen to what you say. Thank you very much for your high level of entertainment. Yes, I seek to be that, if anything. Definitely seek to be somewhat entertaining. Where is the weed? I love the way the H is there. The weed. Well, still me. I'll tell you where the weed is. It's upstairs. Jose says, I hope that it's the real Messiah that comes, but my culture has kind of trained me to expect a deceiver. Yes, there are different adversaries, different deceivers. It's very much a cause of great, what would it be? Consternation. Which is why I think maybe I'll be one of the last ones to accept Messiah. Who knows, right? Because it's going to be, Hayom im bekolot tishma'u, right? If you listen, if you hark to his voice today he will be revealed. Today, even right now at this very moment, if we hark to his voice. LSD, I'm asked once again. Yes, I enjoy LSD. Haven't done it in a long time, and I plan to do it again in the future. Not sure when. Oh, there's a glitch. I've always had a lot of good times with it, and very Torah-filled times with it as well. Sneezer says to Jose, external is deceiver, and you'll misunderstand making it so. Jesus comes from within. Greetings from Israel. Hello, Lady Dasha. Shalom, shalom. Erev Tov. Greetings to you from Jerusalem. Hebrew Nazarite, if you are one of the last ones, Sneezer says, it will be blessing. I trust you to resist until we are worthy. Right, okay, see, that's just the thing. That's just the thing. I expect Messiah to come at any moment, for him to be anointed. It's just that we are not there yet. And there are people even right now, at this very moment, claiming to be potential messiahs. And I say, good, more people should be potential messiahs, should live their life as if they are to lead. There's a way to go about it. There's a way to do it. There are certain things that, according to halacha, at any rate, you would have to perform or do a threshold of some kind in order to be considered a potential messiah. But forget all those even. What I'm saying is that if you are able to rally the people under one banner of truth, justice, and righteousness, then you can be anointed and embraced by the people as the king. No Amalek, no temple, no conquering the entire land. Get the people together. They will follow you. Okay. The main problems you expect yourself cannot be. I myself cannot be? No, I'm well aware that there are priests and Levites who can be messiahs, anointed kings, even if they are not of the tribe of Judah, of the line of David. The Chashmonaim were the last dynasty that stood for the kingdom of Israel in the miracle of Hanukkah, that short dynasty, about 200 years, and they were priests. Jose says, yes, but when you try to convince others, it's haram. I don't know if you're referring to me, but I don't try to convince anyone of anything. Marcos says, would you shave your beard and go to hairdresser and go, I'm assuming, to a hairdresser for Jesus? No, I would not. I took a vow of a Nazarite. I'm quite certain that even Jesus, son of Mary and Joseph himself, would tell me, Jonathan, don't shave your beard, don't cut your hair, and come follow me. I think that's what he would say. Sanhedrin says, and you will only ever work once everyone, it will only ever work, says Sanhedrin, once everyone understands such a simple fact. Yes, but that understanding, perhaps it will come from within, and perhaps it will come from without, right? Something external. It all depends on how we act in the world every day. Every day. What are we doing? And why are we doing it? Yes, says, according to Plotinus, drugs as well as sorcery only have to do with demons, not angels or God, lowest ego. Okay, and yet I say that even though, how shall I put this? My own experience with psychedelics, be they organic like shrooms or created in a lab like acid, only mine personal experience has been one not of the lowest ego at all. Not at all. And I found the experiences I've had under shrooms, LSD, and others to be akin to a good session of meditation, to Yom Kippur, a day of a lot of prayer, meditation, and fasting, and I likened it because that's the place to which I took it. Set and setting are paramount to the psychedelic experience, and whenever I would do psychedelics, and God willing in the future whenever I do, set and setting will be paramount, which means that I have a certain trajectory that I'm following when I consume psychedelics of this or that nature, or when I meditate, or when I have hitbodedut, or right, which is something along the lines of, let's behave in such a way that we will be a blessing to ourselves and to others, and in such a way reveal more divinity in the world and make the world that much better on a personal and global level. And when you're on psychedelics and you can perceive, or if you're in deep meditation, prayer, hitbodedut, and you can perceive that oneness, it's the very same thing as far as I'm concerned. It's a mind-expanding, mind-revealing experience. That's what psychedelic means. And so you can say that substance-induced psychedelic experiences are inferior. On that I'm willing to agree. They are inferior. And most of a person's psychedelic experiences, I believe, should come from within and not from without. Or, how am I to say that? For me, I believe that path is for me. Most of my psychedelic, and that's the path that I actually do follow, most of my psychedelic experiences are not brought on by any substance that I ingest or drink or I don't know what. Okay, let's continue. Would you eat LSD but would be clean cut? I'm not sure what you mean clean cut LSD. Then you simply take less if it's a question of dosage. B. Martinez, bro, I'm with you. Those other people have been warped by society, says B. Martinez. Jesus was for taking baths. Well, I shower regularly. I don't wash my hair enough. I could do it more. I usually shampoo it once a week or two, but it's not completely nasty. I do have a bit of dandruff, but even then, my woman needs to it's not that visible from the onset. Okay, but yeah, I could probably take better care of my hair. But for my body, I take good care of my body. Arzu says, as a Muslim, I believe in Moses and Jesus too. Jesus come and gone, right? Exactly, come and gone. That's what I'm saying. B. Martinez says, I think everybody should take a psychedelic, and in a controlled situation, they find way more about themselves. Yes, set and setting. That's what it comes down to, man. What is it? What's your mindset? And where are you doing it? With who are you doing it? How are you treating it? Again, if you make it holy, you can have a holy experiences. If you consecrate it, if you set it aside, and you don't treat it with a kind of flippant, frivolous, kind of way. Look, recreational drugs have their place. Let's get that out in the open right here. But if you're going for a psychedelic experiences that's on the holier side, then make those substances holy. Treat them with respect, whether they are organic or synthetic. Yes, says, do you know about ether, the fifth element, sort of eternity and infinity? Yes, yes, yes. The Rambam brings it as the fifth element. Yes, I do know about it, but it's yes, I do. Yes, I do. And it's also something that's mentioned in the sense of it's a form of ruach. But it's not ruach. Ruach is one of the four elements. Okay. Let's continue. Ragnar says, all right, Azru, first lesson on Islam. The Quran say that it is the Jew manuscript or scripture, means it is truth. The worst guy in the world says, now come on, don't be so hard on yourself. Just crossed the 2-hour mark. So good to be here. The worst guy in the world says, is peanut butter a good substitute for lube, asking for a friend? Funnily enough, no, unless it's peanut butter that is completely pure, where the oil has separated from the peanut butter. I'm not talking about Skippy that has all of that hardened, hydrogenized, blah, 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 blah. Talking about pure, let's say, just 100% roasted peanuts. Okay? Naturally, over time, the oil will separate from the more coarse material of the peanut. So what you do is, you open up a jar of 100% peanut butter, you pour out the oil, which will run faster than what had sunk to the bottom, or anyway, the oil will float. You can use that as lube, and as a general, unless the person is allergic to peanuts, I think that could be really great for all types of sexual encounters. But I haven't tried it yet myself. Okay. And again, you have water-based and silicone-based, and depending on the penetration, you need to have the right type of lube. So you don't want to get any diseases. You don't want to endanger anyone. Do your research, people. Do your research. Okay. Alem says, Shalom, fellow Jew here. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Smoke weed, don't do LSD. You smoke weed and don't do LSD? Or you're telling me that, and the public here in the chat, that we ought to smoke weed and not do LSD. Okay. Stillme says, as long as either of you aren't allergic to peanuts. Okay, then yeah, go for it. But don't use the peanut butter. Use the peanut oil. That would be better. But if you're talking about straight up peanut butter, it wouldn't be a good lube, but it would be nice to have some of it for the pregame. Okay, that's what I think. Yes, there are actually two types, infinite energy zero speed, and the opposite says yes. Tachyons. I've heard that on Star Trek, but I don't know anything about them. Use the crunchy if you're into a bit of pain. Ooh, good thinking. Good thinking. You know, still me? I like that. Yes, I do. Arzu says, as me, they both corrupted by people. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but okay. I guess you're not talking to me. I'm going to keep going here. Ariel says, Jonathan, you should know me better by now. Methinks just because I consider something Torah does not mean that I always believe in it its most direct way or even believe it at all. Okay, cool, good. I need to make it absolutely clear every single time because it's a matter of great importance to understand that I don't know anything, nor do I hold any great truth, nor do I nothing. I'm just calling it like I see it in my life here now in Jerusalem. Ragnar says, yeah, it's a problem that people are not holy, so it gets filtered. Sneezer says, correcting misunderstanding is often a slow process, though with immediate results. Right, it's something that happens very, very slowly, and then all at once sometimes, yes. So do you follow the Leviticus laws besides the Decalogue, I mean? Well, name me a law, and I shall say if I follow it. But basically, yes, I strive to follow the laws of Leviticus. However, most of the laws in the Hebrew corpus and Torah pertain to the ritual worship in the temple. So, we're left with like less than 100 or so. Yes, says, can you give me your interpretation on what really happened between Noach and Ham? What really happened? I don't know. I know what Midrash says. Oh, pardon me. The external teachings say that he castrated his father. In other words, we are now going to continue creation. You will not have any more kids. right? Going back to that midrash about the tears of the three brothers creating the saltiness of the oceans, and the fact that we still have tears. You are the temple now, bro, says Timotheus. I agree. I am potentially the temple, but not quite yet. And yes, which is why I say we can technically skip, if you will, over anointed kings, buildings, right, temples. If we can skip over that, if we truly, truly understand by and large as a people that we are the temple of God, we were the original image of God, not through any kind of bricks, stones, or precious metals, clothing, oil, water, blood, sacrificial offerings of vegetable and animal origin. No. It was us in Eden, just humankind, not even Israel and Gentiles or whatever, just humans. So yes, I am the temple now, bro, in potential. However, I am not quite there yet, which means that, and I do believe that it's doable to skip, but if there is a temple, I hope it's vegan. Okay. I think I'll stop now. Well, a couple more questions here. Couple more questions. Let's see. Ragnar says Moses is not only valuable, it is that law that is the constitution of Judah tribe, of all the tribes, Mr. Ragnar. Of all the tribes. The Torah of Moses is all the tribes. Now, each tribe did have its own unique path, let's say. Their own abilities, qualities, and task and duty within the people of Israel. But the Torah was revealed to the people of Israel as a people. And the 12 tribes are different paths leading up the same tree. Or down to the root, right? It's an upside down tree. Double tap and subscribe, says Stilmi. Is that how you subscribe on a mobile? You tap twice? Huh. Let's see. Ariel listening to HN Locals. Yes, you listen to it on loudspeaker. And I think there was also BMXers who said that he was listening on the loudspeaker. Not being funny, says Robert, but I just drunk the stuff to clean out your colon. Why did I say this out loud? Oy, 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 oy. I really hope that that it will go by in the best possible way, that there would be no pain, no discomfort, and good news. Good news. Okay. Fragment says, even the violent laws like putting to death adulterers, those who curse their parents, gays, spiritists, etc. So let's put it this way. I take it in the here and now. And here and now, we have no high court. Here and now, we can't put anyone to death. And even when the high court was able to put people to death, it's been said in the Mishnah that a high court, a Sanhedrin, that would put a person to death once every 7, or some say 70 years, they would be considered a lethal Sanhedrin, a Sanhedrin chovelet or chovelanit, that are fatal, right? And so it wasn't something that was genuinely done. It's in the Torah, again, in order for you to know how to behave in the world and what it is you're supposed to be doing. That thou shalt and thou shalt nots. So now, definitely without ritual worship and without a high court and without a standing king, it's a very different ball game. But it's the same ball game in the sense that Torah can teach you how to be a better person. And so, taking that into context, what I just said, when I look at those laws, I think to myself that there are other ones on which I want to put my focus and emphasis. I cherry pick everything in the Torah, everything, and I make no excuses. Really. So, in that sense, I think that you should put people to death. If we are at the point where there is a standing high Hebrew court in Israel, it means that we have gotten our act together to such a degree that we were all able to agree to appoint people to this high court. And if we can be together and united in such a way that we will be able to erect once again the high court and have smicha, the laying of the hands from Moses to Joshua onward until it was taken out of existence at the time of Rome. But if we have all that and we can actually put people to death, so first, it wasn't usually practiced. And even then, it's supposed to say something about how you are meant to exist in the world. Okay? For all intents and purposes, right? the fact that you should not lay with a man as you do with a woman, and it's an abomination. It means that you shouldn't make certain connections and consider it to be sacred. Sacred connections are sacred in the sense that they can bring life. But if you do it with a male, the anal penetration will not bring life. It has to do with what is it that you are doing with your life. But if you're looking just the dry rules, the dry laws, then I don't think gays should be put to death. I think that if there was a Sanhedrin, they would probably do everything in their power not to put them to death. And also I think that only on an individual level, I simply put more emphasis and focus on other commandments that I consider to be more fundamental, and I ground this in the fact that our sages put the prophets together, the books of the prophets and the writings and the scrolls, and not once does it mention homosexuality, attraction to men, living with a man, marrying a man, having sex with a man, none of that. And the actual transgression is just anal sex between two males, which I spoke of a couple of days ago, or whenever it was, a few days ago. Someone else asked a question. So I hope that gives you an idea of where I stand. Okay? Okay, let's continue. No, let's not. I think it's time to say goodbye. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. It's been 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye. Parting is such sweet sorrow. And I shall say goodbye till it be morrow. And God willing, Yah willing, tomorrow, 9 p.m., another bit from Orot HaTshuvah, another paragraph, and hopefully another Q&A live from Jerusalem. I appreciate your time, your kind attention. I hope that you got some value from this. I hope that you got something entertaining out of it. I hope that you will be back, maybe, if it was pleasant and palatable. If not, carry on. I appreciate every like, every sub, every view. As I said, every horrified swipe. Ah, what's that? Kill it with fire. And it's lovely to be here. I don't take it for granted, not for a second, that I just push go live and there are people here conversing. I appreciate your contributions, your wisdom, your chats, your comments, your questions. I can't get to all of them, I'm afraid, but hopefully. People, regulars and others, what did you think of this? Where I take a question and then skip, take a question and then skip. Is that something that it's more of a dynamic thing? It felt more dynamic to me anyway. So, I will say goodnight. See you tomorrow, God willing, from Jerusalem. Until then, peace, love, harmony, God bless.